Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
And I'm Doug Llewellyn here in our studio in Los Angeles with our guest today, who is a financial life planner and educator. He has also created a unique software program which really helps his clients, and he also is someone who speaks all over the world. You're going to find him amazing. I'd like you to meet him now. His name is Curtis Cloke. He is the president of Acuity Financial, which is headquartered in Burlington, Iowa. Mr. Cloke, welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Doug.
You're welcome. I want to get into your story, but first, before we begin, a little while ago, you had a chance to answer some questions from William Shatner. So let's pause, take a look at a brief portion of that now and see how it went. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Let's watch this.
I know you've been successful in your business, but what I would like to hear is just a brief capsule of exactly what it is you do and who do you do it for, and how do you see this helping America to move forward?
Mr. Shatner, we are retirement planners who have developed a very special proprietary educational process and software program that breaks down complex math so the retiree can easily quantify what is projected to happen with their money and help them determine if their retirement projections are safe or unsafe given their personal lifetime financial goals. We not only manage money for our clients, but also teach other advisors through our certification programs while helping universities develop curriculum on this subject. Our goal is to empower retirees as well as advise them on how to realistically and effectively manage their money to last a lifetime. That, Mr. Shatner, is how we are helping move America forward.
You know, that's pretty fascinating what you just said to Mr. Shatner. Did you set out in your career to do this, to be a financial planner?
You know, I set out to be a financial planner, but not necessarily retirement. And it was actually my business clients who had encouraged me to actually expand my horizons because they wanted me to do the retirement planning. And so halfway through my career, I began to endeavor into the retirement space and not necessarily intending to.
Well, you have certainly done it in a grand way. You have done so many different things in this whole field. You've started a number of different companies in the process, all wrapped around this real general area. Let me ask you a little bit about, number one, the clients that you primarily deal with now, yourself. What's the age that most of them come to you?
You know, our average client is probably going to be between 55 and 65 years of age. Yeah. We also work with a much younger client group, as my son Joshua is my partner and works in the firm as well. But for the retirement aspect of things, we're probably 55 to 65 in that range.
So, you know, we have a unique chart here. Let me bring this up and ask you to, because I know this is what you show your clients. And it really helps wake them up. So if the camera can get a picture on this, let's go through this and show me what this really means. Let's begin here.
All right. So one of the things that we discovered a long time ago is clients don't respond well to a bunch of numbers and spreadsheets. Maybe engineers do, but not general clientele. And so we decided to build a dashboard, if you will, of 4 quadrants, and our process is to educate them on what each of those quadrants means. So that first quadrant you pointed to there, Doug, represents the investment net worth. Everyone is concerned during the retirement projections, am I going to have enough? I mean, that's really the first fearful question they ask is, do I have enough not to run out? Here's what I'd like.
Exactly.
And all that measurement does is says, do you run out? And if you don't run out, if you have legacy goals to leave your surviving spouse and your children, or maybe charities some dollars, how much am I really going to leave? So that's what that gauge does.
So the green line and the red line obviously define what they mean.
So the first thing that we try to do is when we go through the discovery process and understand the movie that they're playing in their mind for retirement and what their resources are, which have a tax schematic to them. Once we frame that picture of what is, that becomes the red line. Once we understand what it is they're trying to accomplish and we apply prudent guidance to the retirement specifics, then we try to use our intellect to reallocate dollars to both income growth and legacy to make it better. And the green line represents adding our intellect and our experience to how to allocate those dollars.
All right, let's talk about this, the withdrawal rate. What are we showing there?
So in retirement, though there can be some debate on this issue, many of the practitioners that work in the retirement space believe there's a prudent guidance level as to what a safe withdrawal rate might be if someone never wants to have to vary how much income they're going to get in retirement. And so many years ago, a Nobel Peace Prize winner back in the 50s developed something called the 4% rule. And it was also around something called Monte Carlo simulation. Well, then what happened was people started to live longer and longer and longer, and we're seeing about a 2.45-year increase in America for both men and women. Every 12 years we sustain life. And so when the academics researched that question of the 4% rule, they found that it was really 3%. Wow. So we need to measure, not just at the beginning of retirement, but throughout retirement, what's the withdrawal rate against our total portfolio every year to maintain that movie that we're playing in our mind. And so we measure or we mark or whatever that withdrawal rate is that the consumer, the retiree says, this is what I want to project. And that's testing that withdrawal rate.
Now come down here.
That one is called reliability of income, and you'll notice that the purple marker is at the 100% mark. So we're inflating income, we're separately inflating medical expenses, and then we're identifying the promise-based or the guaranteed-based sources of income, and those are represented by that line. So the difference between where that line is and the purple dotted line, which is the total amount of income goal, is it's telling us how much is safe or guaranteed from promise-based resources and how much is tethered to the risk of the market and not guaranteed. And so our goal, obviously, if we can, without lacking performance, is to increase that closer and closer to the reliability of income line.
And then finally, discretionary liquid assets.
What we find that people care about is not only do I want income and I want it safely and I don't want to run out, but I also would like to have some discretionary spending capability where not all the assets have to be held hostage just to generate safe income. Right. So that measures the discretionary liquidity.
Well, it's a very vivid example of where someone should be, you know, with their finances as they're retiring. If they come to you at the age of 70, when some people do, is it too late then to save them?
It depends on the situation. When we had the 08 market debacle, there were a lot of elderly folks who had already been retired for years that came to us, and they were looking for what I call rescue from problems that they had created. And sometimes the resources are enough that we can recreate a new plan and not make some mistakes of the past. And others have to severely reboot their expectations in the future.
Something else pretty interesting. You have this pamphlet which you give your clients, and it's danger zones of 18 risks that can derail retirement. What are some of those risks?
Well, there's 5 really big risks that we need to mitigate and work on mitigating in a plan. Number 1 is longevity risk. It's the number 1 risk, multiplies every other risk out there. The second one is...
And that is what? How long are you going to live?
Yep, how long you're going to live. And there's when you're husband and wife and there's a chance of 2 people passing away that a portfolio needs to be sustained, there's a much greater chance that 2 people will live longer than just 1.
So in other words, you haven't planned carefully.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
Understand it.
The number 2 risk is medical, and it's not just about medical costs, but it's medical inflation. We really don't know how to quantify medical inflation, but we know we better build an inflation factor for medical expenses that's much greater than non-medical flows that we need in retirement.
Excess withdrawal.
Excess withdrawal means that you need to have some discipline and not take more than you should, or we're going to get out of the box on withdrawal rates.
And you're going to run out of money.
You're going to run out of money.
Before the end comes. Okay.
And the next one is one that it's a lying giant nobody knows exists when they start in retirement. It's called sequence or order of returns risk. And it's a risk that doesn't reveal its head during accumulation. And very few people have heard about it. But it's a very critical risk. Too detailed for us to get into in this show, but it's a risk that you need to know about. And the final risk is just market volatility.
Obviously. Well, they're all worth knowing. Let me ask you about the software that you've created. It's your own proprietary software program. What does it do?
So the software is like any other software. It allows you to put all the appropriate inputs in. And our process is client-driven, where we ask questions and we go through a really deep process to help clients make decisions on what those specs need to be, and they emotionally own those answers. But unlike software that just simply spits out a 57 or 100-page report with a bunch of numbers and Excel spreadsheets, we realized a while ago that it's more meaningful if we can quantify something that's simple for the consumer to see, and then all of a sudden have an aha moment about the safety and the reliability of their expectations. And so what's really unique about what we've created is that we've created a dashboard that allows them to contrast what happened, or what would have happened had they retired based on the way their money was allocated and their expectations of the movie they're playing in their mind when they walk in the door, and what could happen if they actually add a layer of expertise. And so it's really our dashboard, and it's the ability for the consumer to see themselves and gauge for themselves for quantifying measurements.
You make that reference a lot about the movie in their mind. What is that movie?
You know, everyone has it. When they come in, that's whether it's laying on a beach, or whether it's going out and facilitating charity, or playing in the garden, or going around with grandkids, everyone has, as a couple, a movie that they're playing in their mind. Unfortunately, I will tell you that about half the time, the resources that clients or pre-retirees have developed for that movie they're playing in their mind isn't enough to maintain that movie. And the other half probably could increase the movie if they wanted to, and many really aren't interested.
It's their dream of what the future will be. Same thing.
And so you better get a checkup to make sure that your expectations are in line with your resources.
You represent clients all over the country, don't you?
Yes, yes. Half of our clientele is outside of my state in Iowa. Yeah. And we do that with the new technology that's available. We happen to use GoToMeeting, and we meet with clients via the screens on their computers from wherever they may be located. It could be in the bottom of their boat. It could be in their kitchen, wherever they may be.
Yours is a remarkable story. You travel the world teaching and speaking. You teach at Texas Tech. What do you teach there? Obviously, finance.
Yeah, so I've been invited a couple times to Texas Tech they have a master's program for financial planning, and I've done 2 times now an educational cruise to Mexico with all of the kids in that master's program, and I've been one of the instructors. I have had on occasion a couple times to go down and actually stand next to Harold Uvinsky and teach in his course down there, those students in that class.
Well, it's a great story you tell, Curtis. Thank you so much for being here to tell us about it.
Thank you.
Now it's my honor to present this prestigious award to Curtis Cloke, the president of the Q80 Financial, Inc. of Burlington, Iowa, for the outstanding work that he and his firm are doing to help keep moving America forward. Curtis, it's a great honor to give this to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm William Shatner, and for all of us at Moving America Forward, thanks for watching.